the goal of the Smart Impact Talks is to provide young people who are just at the beginning of the entrepreneurial journey with the opportunity to learn from the stories, challenges, successes of the invited speakers of today, but also from the next sessions. And by giving those entrepreneurs with a strong impact a platform to present their entrepreneurial journey with all kinds of ups and downs, we want to enable young people to learn from their experiences and to profit from their recommendations. The idea behind the talk is that each talk is dedicated to a special topic. For today's talk, we have thought something extra special just for you. We have teamed up with Social Impact Award to add a little bit more of a bit more of an international touch and to talk about concrete experiences which the speakers collected by participating at the Social Impact Award competition. But without further ado, I'm happy to give the floor to Anna Janošev, who's the managing director of Social Impact Award and the host for the next hour.
Thank you, Lasse. Thank you for the invitation to host this conversation today. I'm always very excited to talk with the alumni of Social Impact Award. As Lasse introduced me already, I just wanted to mention that I've been part of Social Impact Award since 2016, originally Serbian, where I also ran the program for a few years before I joined the team here in Vienna, now managing the global and international community for young social entrepreneurs. Before I give the word to my speakers today, I wanted to share a few words about what Social Impact Award is and how you can benefit from it. Social Impact Award is a global community for young social innovators. We work with young people up to 30 years of age across 18 countries this year, mostly Central and Southeast Europe, but also in Central Asia and East Africa. So we are globally present with a lot of inspiring examples along the way. And in our program, we support you with different mentoring, workshops, and in the end, financial support. And I will be talking about it a bit more at the end of the session because I want to use as much space possible for us to talk with our amazing alumni. The speakers today, and that will join me on the stage in a second, have gone through the program of Social Impact Award and have now are running their businesses or kind of still getting them started. And I invited them to share with us how is their journey going so far. So with me, there will be two speakers today: Mary Larson, who works on the business called House of Urnebes, based in Serbia, and Florian Schanznig, from Student Innovation Center based in Vienna. And the both of them will share a bit more about their experiences, their challenges along the way, how they benefited from different programs, and kind of where they are now in their venture development. So without further ado, I would invite Mary first to join me on stage and share a bit about who she is and what is House of Urnebes all about.
Hi, Anna. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Mary Regina Larson, but most people call me Gina. I'm from Denver, Colorado, originally born and raised, but I've actually been living in Serbia on and off for about the past 4 years. Right now, I'm actually living in a city called Smederevo. It's about 45 minutes to an hour outside of Belgrade, and I'm working on a project called House of Urnebes, which is basically a gathering place for artists, musicians, and other creative people. We're creating this gathering place by combining a coffee shop, a hostel, an art studio, and an exhibition space all under one roof, kind of into a space where artists and, like I said, other creative people from around the world can come together to create, collaborate, and find inspiration in each other.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I think we will have a chance to dig deeper into all of this. I would invite now Florian on stage to also quickly introduce himself and what is Social Innovations Center.
So yeah, thanks. Thank you for having me today. Sorry, I just need to adjust my camera. So now it's fine. Yeah, I'm Florian. I'm part of Students Innovation Center, and we have seen in the past that there is one main problem, that is that people are not aware of what they can do, what they want to do, and actually what potentials they have. So we decided, okay, we need to do something. On a university level, there's too little offer for that. In the startup ecosystem, it's growing, but still there is a need of peer-to-peer bottom-up initiatives that drive people to actually do something positive in their city, in their communities, etc. So, so Students Innovation Center, we want to inspire, motivate people, mainly students, to get out of the comfort zone, learn something, get a project or a business started that can change the world, or change at least the world that every one of us lives in their small bubbles. So we are doing this by giving the right mindset, inspirations, the skills and abilities to actually do something, create your idea, and form a business plan, for example. We also give orientation on a personal level and on a business level, and give the right network through inspired people, through a community that gives forms as a role model to those people doing something. And we have different offers there. For example, we have a podcast talking with people who already funded something or are in the process of funding something or having a project. We have a students consultancy for people who want to do projects or startups, but also who want to develop themselves. We just started it right now. It's the personal, we call it persönliche Beratung, like a personal consultancy. It's like a coaching, more or less. We also have a meetup and a business incubation called Climate Launchpad, which is the biggest green tech incubator on a global level. And we're doing it since 7 years in Austria, and we've already incubated over 60 startups so far. So yeah, like Social Impact Award, we are trying to also inspire and push people to do something. Yeah.
Wonderful, thank you. I had a chance to also meet a lot of team members from SIG before, and I'm really happy this initiative is still ongoing because it started in 2016. I assume, Florian, you were not part of the founding team, or maybe you were, but I would be interested to hear from both of your sides. How did you actually came to this idea or got involved into this idea? And maybe we start with Mary, because I think it's especially interesting that you are from Denver, Colorado, and you are now starting your kind of business in Smederevo, Serbia. How did this come to be?
Yeah, that's a great question that could be answered over the course of this entire hour. Let me tell you, it's been quite a wild journey. But I originally came to the Balkans as a Peace Corps volunteer. So maybe you guys know Peace Corps, maybe you don't. It's like a 2-year volunteer service, staying in a small village or town in the country you're placed in, and staying with the host family, and it was really cool. And the Peace Corps actually ran some project and design trainings. So not only were they training us volunteers, but also a lot of the local impact makers in the local communities. And that's where I met my partner, Nenad. And I mean, I don't know, it could be like spun as a cheesy love story almost, but we decided, that we kind of wanted to start maybe seeing what building a life together from there could look like. And we got involved increasingly in the arts world. Nenad and his friends has started a small arts organization in his village, and they were running artist colonies, which I thought were the coolest things in the world, because there were artists coming together from different cultures and different mediums and creating with each other, inspiring each other, learning tips and tricks from each other. It was really beautiful. So we started playing around with the idea of what a permanent artist colony would look like. So instead of it just being a 1 week, 2 week event, a permanent space where artists from different cultures around the world can come together and learn about culture or take inspiration from that. And then also a place where maybe artists from different mediums could come together. Like, I don't know what a painter and a sculptor could do together, or a graffiti artist and a DJ, but I definitely want to find out. So that's what we wanted to, that's the kind of space we wanted to create. And as we started exploring more and more, what other spaces like that might be out there, art residencies are an easy one that comes up. And we started finding a few problems with art residencies. One big problem would be a lot of the applications are competitive and extensive. Often you need a pretty thorough portfolio to participate. Many art residencies will have program fees, and a lot of them will have like strict start and end dates. So this means that maybe beginner artists who don't have a thorough portfolio can't participate. Low income or artists from different demographics can't participate. And then also part-time artists, maybe someone who also has another job. If there's a strict start date and end date to the program or the residency, it makes it hard for people like that to participate. So starting to feel like there was a lack of diversity in the art world, a lack of place that was like a common ground for everybody, beginners, professionals, different, ethnic groups, different minority groups. You're just a place where locals, people from abroad, foreigners, anything like that, felt like there was a place like that missing. So we kind of felt like the hostel model, we're trying to shy away from the word hostel because maybe it sounds cheap, but it's an easy word for everybody to grasp onto. The hostel model allows it so it's more affordable, number one. You don't need an application to come in. It's just a creative, relaxed place for people to come together and live and create together. And then also you can choose how long you want to stay.
Gives the flexibility that the regular art residencies don't.
Yeah, exactly. And anyone who has started a business or organization will tell you it's you find inspiration for the business idea yourself, and then you also find like personal inspiration. It was a time in both of our lives where Nenad had been running a bar that shut down because of Corona. My Peace Corps service was finishing. It's like a transitional moment. What do we want to do? Do we want to go look for jobs and work for other people? Or do we want to try to do something that we really want to do? And this is what we decided on. And then puzzle pieces come together. Nenad's family also has a very large house that's been empty since the early 2000s, 4 stories. So put all the puzzle pieces together. We should utilize that space. And yeah, that's where we are right now.
Wonderful. We will be digging for sure deeper into that because I'm curious as to where are you now as well, and what have been kind of some interesting points and challenges in your journey. But maybe I give it to Florian a bit to tell us a bit about the founding of SIG and how did you get involved in it, or why?
Yeah, thanks. I very like the story, Mary. It's nice that it comes together like this. Yeah. I mean, with SIG, it was kind of different because Students Innovation Center was founded from students for students mainly, and it was actually developed in a class. So there was a lecture called I think it was like innovation, change management, something like this. And at BOKU, at the University of Life Sciences here in Vienna, and that idea came up. Okay, let's do something. There is nothing like a student hub for sustainable project or business ideas. Let's do it ourselves because we can, and there is no support from top down. So let's do it bottom up. And actually, I was part of the first team. So. It founded in 2016, and back then I was like in there and getting to know what is happening and what are these people doing. So I was not part of the initiators, but I was part of the founding team more or less. Yeah. And yeah, we started small, doing some workshops and events that we thought are useful for students. And we had beers with it. And so the first event was a sickathon, we called it. It was like a marathon in the park, where we had different stations with projects or startups who just founded, and we wanted to give this inspiration and this near experience for the people to getting to know each other. And it actually was quite funny, and many people were inspired of this. And yeah, so it got rolling, and so far we had over 80 events. We reached over 3,800 people so far. I said, like, we incubated over 60 startups as well. Some of them are well known in the Austrian startup scene, but yeah, also some who before or afterwards went to Social Impact Award. But yeah, it started with an idea and the need and the community, more or less. The community is still very important in SIG, but also around SIG, that people on the same level come together and have this community feeling and supportive environment where everybody can grow and learn. And also think that's very crucial with all businesses who want to achieve like impact, especially in a social manner, that community or these building networks and hubs where people can have experiences for each other or through each other, very important, like you're doing, Mary, with this creative hub, more or less. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I'm curious as to what has drawn you, Florian, to join and become part of this team. What was your personal motivation, so to say?
Well, my personal motivation was that I felt like for myself there is something lacking that can push me and help me to climb the ladder for my personal development, firstly, but also for all the knowledge that is out there, and having also the fun and joy with other people together to do something that matters and that feels like that you have impact on others. That was very important for me, at least, and still is important in leading the team now and giving more opportunities and on a different level, on a different context. But nevertheless, I think those things were the personal drivers to join.
Wonderful. And I'm curious, maybe I bounce one more question to you. Since you said this is a student-to-student community, there is a lot of students involved as well. How do you deal with kind of the constant change, right? Because students change quite a lot. How do you deal with that within your organization? Because I know it's for especially for the development of such a community and of such a team, it's very much relevant that people kind of stay. And since we know students kind of come and go, how have you dealt with this big challenge along the way, or what kind of model have you come up with to make it work for you?
Well, that was and is the most tricky part, to have this stability in the team. And actually, we are struggling with it. Yeah? It's not easy to have this. It's also where other supporters come in, or organizations and incubators like Social Impact Award, but also others who gave us the feedback and also knowledge, okay, how to do it, but still implementing it and having the knowledge and not losing it again. It's tough. Yeah. What we have tried so far, and also with COVID, it was extremely difficult to do it, is to keep up the motivation and this community feeling. And the challenge is that everybody has like different things to do, studying, working, doing sick, doing something else, having friends, family, blah, blah. And dedicating the time to it needs very strong vision and a team where, we're trying to keep this up and having in mind, okay, what are we doing this for, and for whom, and what also what is the value that we create for ourselves in this, being in this community, being in the organization. And it's very much relying on the personal contacts and the I think the ability of the team to really be open and not pushing too much, but having the room for the conversations, on personal conversations as well, and not just focusing on the work. Because people get overwhelmed and it's too much, but you need the personal attachment for that.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's working, but still it's a struggle.
I always we often get this question, about the financial sustainability of the ventures that we're working with, but the question often disregarded is the team sustainability, right? Because you need to keep up the motivation, especially in the first years of building up a venture where things are very unstable, financials are very unstable, you're still kind of discovering where you want to go, and then kind of having the sustainability of the team comes much more into play, I would say. Mary, tell us a bit, like, where are you now in the process? I've been following your adventures on Instagram, and I see you're still very much kind of preparing the space. How far along are you in the process of building up your venture and the community around it?
Yeah, actually, we're at a really exciting moment right now. We spent last year doing a lot of the heavy construction, a lot of stuff like building walls. We installed a sewage system. So I've learned a lot of new skills recently, let me tell you. It's more gravity than you would think. It's a little less complex than I thought it might be. So that's been fascinating. And then we moved into winter time. So pretty much renovations and construction comes to a halt because the house has no heating. It's freezing. So what we decided to do instead over the winter was work a lot on funding opportunities, trying to figure out our finances, and then also maybe some finances coming in from some other places. And then we also wanted to work on community building, since a lot of what we are doing is not just a space, but it's a community of artists and creative people who can come together. So on the funding side, we actually had a lot of good luck. We sent out a few grant applications, and we just had one come back and won some funding. So that has really lit a fire under our butts, let me tell you. It feels really good. So that was a great way to spend our time. And the other thing we did was hosted a cross-cultural collaboration, but virtually. So we actually wanted 5 artists from different countries to sign up and kind of do a project together. We had 20 artists from 15 different countries sign up and do a project together. So we put them in groups of 5, and basically what we had them do was think of a word from their culture that does not have an English translation and describe it to their group. And then each week they used one of those words as a theme and created a piece of artwork based on their interpretation of that word. So an example would be the Argentinian artist suggested the word quilombo, which basically means chaos. And the Indonesian artists from that group heard that word and thought of an event from his home village, like Indonesian cultural event, where it's like almost like a circus event where people like stab their body parts, like pierce their tongues with glass or like swallow swords or something like that. And he was like, when I hear this word and the description chaos, this is what it means to me. And then he depicted that in art. You can see all of the artwork now up on our Instagram page. So that was a really fun way to kind of, number one, test our proof of concept. People do want to come together. Artists do want to find inspiration in other cultures and connect and talk to each other. The group chats were going all the time with these artists talking to each other, sharing music from their countries, sharing pictures of their hometowns. It was really, really exciting. So we felt that was a good boost in the community, and it led us right into starting this summer. We actually got this grant funding to help us start an interior design colony. So application coming soon. You guys are the first to hear it here. But basically what we're going to do is, instead of hiring an agency and some meisters to just renovate the house for us, we're going to bring in 4 to 5 creative carpentry handyman type people, and let them stay at the house and let them design it. We want it to be a space kind of created by artists, designed by artists, for artists. So that's where we are right now. We are gearing up for this application to open, and we are preparing the space for the artists to stay. And kind of other than that, just getting excited to see what people come up with and getting anxious to get started.
I can imagine. Those are the good, exciting times, let's say. Absolutely. Mary, you were our recent alumni, let's say. So you were participating in Social Impact Award last year. I'm curious, maybe you can share a bit what kind of elements of the support from the program were the most valuable for you and your team.
Sure. We've put a lot of thought into this, actually. I think what's super helpful about Social Impact Award, and for anybody listening, any sort of competition or mentorship program is it helps keep you on task. If you have another job, or you're in school, or you have family obligations, it's nice to have something where it's like, okay, but we do need to be online on Tuesday for this, or we do need to work on this business canvas or plan, or get ready for this meeting for something. Like, it gives you a good way to give yourself benchmarks, and I don't want to force yourself, but remind yourself that you should be working on it incrementally, So if it's just an idea you have or a business you're working on, if you're not involved in some sort of program, then it does give you the excuse to be like, I'll work on it next week. So I think just having somebody there to push you along is really helpful. And then number 2, and I bet both of you guys will agree, just the support community of alumni, your fellow competitors or participants, and then the people running the programs. It's so nice being a new entrepreneur, to come to a question you have in starting the business and actually have someone you can call and feel comfortable calling to ask that question. A great example would be, for example, we're a social enterprise, and that doesn't exist in Serbia. So you can't register as a social enterprise. You either have to register as an LLC or an NGO. So that's been complicated, and it's been really nice to have somebody around who can help walk us through the complexities of registering a business in a different country. So
yeah. Yeah, totally understood. And I'm curious to hear now, Florian, your team was part of Social Impact Award in 2016, so this was kind of a while ago, right? And I'm curious as to whether you can still kind of pinpoint throughout the program what CS supported you with, but maybe even more relevant after the program, what kind of support or what kind of elements have you benefited, or your team has benefited from, even after the incubation program has finished?
Since it has been a long time ago, it's quite hard to pick out special things, but nevertheless, I think the input was very good, also to get a different mindset, and have also experts talking about social enterprises and how to do it, and how to have also this double bottom line of maximizing the impact, but also having profits, and how does it get together. And I think very important back then was also the feedback from others, from peers, but also from the trainers and the jury and so on. So I think it's also always good in every incubation program, or every program that supports ideas or projects in the idea phase, to have this feedback culture and learning together, being in the same space, having a competition more or less, but everybody's learning and gaining from it. So it's less a competition, and that's what we are also saying at Climate Launchpad. It's a community first and competition second, because everybody's helping each other. And I think also with Social Impact Award, that's one of the crucial things, because everybody is working into the same direction, more or less. And afterwards, I need to say we could have used the expert pool better. That's something that we missed so far, but we've always been in contact with the organizers of Social Impact Award in Austria, and in 2017 we actually cooperated, and SIG was organizing the pre-events for Social Impact Award back then, and afterwards we had like we exchanged on the challenges and learned from each other how to engage the target groups and so on, and having the outreach together as well. So and now we're also in contact with Stephanie, who is in charge for SIA in Austria, when it comes to bringing the both competitions like SIA and Climate Launchpad to the community, and getting out there. Okay, there are also startups or businesses, not just for making money, but also for creating a new kind of business.
Yeah, that's. I'm very glad to hear that kind of the community still supports each other, and that we are kind of working together a lot. And this is the case not just with you, but with also a lot of other alumni of ours, where we kind of collaborate and bring the things forward together. We had a few questions also from the audience in the pre-registration process, and I'm curious to kind of hear your perspectives on it. Maybe Florian, you already kind of talked about the challenges of the team, but Mary, we'd be curious to hear also, what are the biggest challenges you have encountered in kind of starting up and kind of working towards your business so far?
Yeah, sure. I think one of the biggest challenges we have is we're dreamers, big time dreamers. So, we can take one idea and like run with it for forever, but kind of deconstructing an idea, and especially a big project like this, down to its simplest form, something that's like a reasonable place to start, that has by far been the biggest challenge. So, we have this huge idea for a fully renovated house, place where there's going to be all of these artists creating and doing stuff together. It's going to be super fun, and we could think of a million projects, but how do we get started? We don't have the money for it. How do we find the money for it? Things like that. So like taking it from the big dream idea down and breaking it down into reasonable steps has for sure been one of our biggest challenges. And that's again where I bring in, it's really nice to have a support community around who you can bounce ideas off of, who has expertise in different areas. Wow, it's been so nice having friends who are good at construction, friends who are good at branding and marketing. I've had a friend who's really helped us with hashtags, things like that, where it's so nice to have a few friends here and there where the big, super fun, passionate idea becomes also a little less scary to start and a little bit more reasonable. So, to answer your question succinctly, it's a good thing to be a dreamer, but it's also been one of our biggest challenges.
Yeah. Florian, besides the team, are there any other kind of challenges you had to encounter on the way, and how did you kind of figure them out?
Well, there have been many challenges. There still are many challenges, and I think every day is a challenge, because it's always changing, and not only the team is changing, but also like the environment of the ecosystem and the startup ecosystem and so on. I think what has been challenging is also similar to what Mary said, to have a plan and getting it done, more or less. But because the vision and the idea is good to have, but if you don't know how to get there, it's quite hard to really do something. And yeah, it's also a big challenge for me personally, because I'm not a planner. I'm just doing the things that feel right and urgent right now, and mostly they are right. But it's always good to have some kind of a milestone plan, or to get it structured and in order, so that okay, this leads to that, and in the end we want to be there, so we need to do this first, and so on. And it's hard if you have a changing team, as I also said before. But I think, like, especially in the first years, it's quite hard to be recognized as an organization, or as a business that really can give value to its target group, or to the ecosystem that it's operating in. And I think that was also a challenge in the first 5 years. We always tried to be as to put as much effort and quality in as we were able to, and I think that really paid off, because now it's easy or much easier for us to get partners, to get contacts, and so on, the resources that we need to do our offers, or to make our offers. It's much easier to get now, because we showed that we can do it, and it's we have quality, but also we're even though that we're students, or just students. So I think it was challenging in the beginning to really show what you can.
And prove that, we know how to do this. This is what we do, and we do it well, right? This is always at the beginning. As we work with a lot of young entrepreneurs, there's always this question: are you qualified enough? Are you experienced enough? And I think kind of the persistency in it, and kind of persistency in proving that this is the value we bring to the table, and we're good at it, takes a bit of time to get rolling. I'm curious also, I think, Mary, you mentioned, kind of the legal framework, right, that you were a bit struggling with. And we got a really interesting question from the audience on kind of which policies supported your development, and which kind of policies hindered the development for you, and kind of how did you get around this issue? And you mentioned one is the founding. How did you kind of figure a way floating in the space of different policy systems for doing business?
I will do. Okay, I'm going to do my best, guys. I will say our team operates really well here with teams of teams. So I handle some stuff, and my partner Nenad handles some other things. Big shout out to him. He did almost all of the heavy lifting for registering the business. Okay. I do feel a little uncomfortable, because I don't know. I don't want to misspeak. So there is no way to register as a social enterprise in Serbia, and I think it's a problem in maybe quite a few of the other Balkan countries. So what we've done is we just registered first as an NGO, plain and simple, because we had this funding come in, and we needed to be a registered legal body to actually receive the funds that we had just won. So for us, actually, maybe it is quite related to what we were just talking about. You can plan and plan and plan all you want, and then sometimes when something becomes urgent, you just find the easiest way to get it done. So in the future, soon, of course, we're going to have a coffee shop. We're going to have overnight stays, hostel beds to rent and sell. We might need to register with either another entity that is a business, or there's options to do a branch of a business. It's an NGO, or maybe a branch of the NGO. It's a business. I'm getting quieter because I feel less confident speaking for what I talk about. if that person wants a Daynod to email them, he has just gone through it. He is like an expert on it right now.
Yeah. I think I'm also just generally curious as to how much has this hindered or kind of supported the development of your venture, right? Was it a kind of a big obstacle? Was it kind of a thing, as you said, we need to figure it out and we do it fast, and we found the easiest solution? And were there any other also policies or maybe even practices that were kind of making your development of your business harder or even easier?
This, I wouldn't say it hindered us in any way. It would just be a good lesson in get started on things early, because you might think they're going to take a certain amount of time and they end up taking a different amount of time. So that it didn't hinder us. We got it done. We got it done on time still, but I'm glad we gave ourselves the time to jump through all the extra hoops that we were not expecting. And then in terms of other policies and stuff, I don't know. We haven't really run into any super problems yet. I'm sure registering the space, there's going to be some permits that need to be made and things like that. But for right now, fingers crossed, I think we're feeling pretty good about that. Safe location. If we need to buy a fire extinguisher, that's great. I believe in those. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Me personally, as you know, a foreigner here, there's sometimes some cultural things that are interesting to go through. Sometimes people are very supportive of your business idea, and sometimes people are very upfront about what they think about it, and that's a little shocking sometimes, but also healthy to hear. Back home, people are all praise and good job. You know, you never maybe hear the hard stuff. So there's been a few things like that, but in general, I think if you start going for it and you're not afraid to ask questions, then we haven't really come into any problems so far.
Yeah, that's great to hear. I'm very happy to hear that, especially as you said, as a foreigner.
Yeah, maybe it's not the most exciting answer, but
yeah.
I mean, if that's inspiring to anybody, we've had a lot of fun trying to figure it out.
What about you, Florian? You kind of are operating in a very different ecosystem than the one in Serbia, where the startup scene and especially also social entrepreneurship scene is kind of on a different level, has been around much longer. What were some policy kind of struggles, obstacles, or kind of support that you that your team and your organization went through?
Well, firstly, I think what Mary said is quite important. What you said in the beginning, that you started with something and then you adapt as along the way. I think that's very crucial. Even if you're not an expert and you don't know everything about your market and your target group and how it really works, etc. I think what many people do is to wait and get more information, but then in the end they do nothing because they think they don't have enough to start yet. And but it's like research also shows that it's better to do it step by step and iterative. Yeah. And regarding the policies, I think for us, it has been quite clear from the beginning on that it is an NGO, or a Verein in Deutsch, in German, where, because the goal is not to raise much money, but to have much impact, and we needed an organizational structure for that, or legal structure. And it was quite, there have not been much obstacles in this regard. Maybe there is something called Gemeinnützigkeit. So it's I don't know the English term for it right now, but it's if you have
a non-profit company, kind of.
Yeah, more than non-profits, not just non-profit, but dedicated to a social task, and then you have like some tax. There are some differences in how you need to pay taxes, and we tried to register that, but it didn't work. And then we said, okay, maybe we don't need it. And then, okay. But like policy wise, it has been challenging mainly on the university level. Because we're an inter-universital organization, so we're operating from Boku, but nevertheless we want to reach all students in Vienna at the moment, and our team is from different universities as well. And it's interesting how different universities handle students and organizations. So it's, for example, it's quite hard to get rooms at WU, but it's much easier at Boku or at the technical university. So the universital policies are very different, and you also need to adapt and know the right people and the right institutions where you can have a foot in the door, more or less, and know the network, so to speak. And what maybe I think in other countries it's very different, but in Austria there is this every 2 years the universities need to adjust their plans with the ministries, and they decide, okay, for what do you get money, and for what can you spend money, what are the main topics that you can operate in, and so on. And luckily for us, entrepreneurship is getting more important, and so that means that it's easier to have access to universital resources. I'm not talking about money, but mainly for rooms and getting into the getting to contacts, having people that can put you into lectures and so on. So that changes much as well.
With the current kind of trends and support growing for the entrepreneurship. I was very curious actually about more the university policies, because knowing from experience in Serbia, especially, that working with bigger institutions and within bigger institutions can sometimes be very challenging in as you said, getting to right people also there change, right, every 4 or 5 years or so. Often the rectorate, the deans and so on changes, and then kind of you have to start the process of advocating for your goal again and getting connected with all these new people. So seems like the issues goes across the countries, I would say. As we have not much more time left, I wanted to kind of wrap up our conversation, and hearing your wonderful experiences from different sides and a lot of challenges, what will be kind of your main, if you could kind of go back to yourself starting a year ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, starting to work on your idea, what would be the advice you would give to yourself starting your journey now? Whoever would like to start, whoever comes up with the answer first can simply start talking. I
don't know. We're still kind of like right at the beginning of our journey. I feel like going back a few years, it would be just that, like, keep looking forward and things will happen. I don't know. I wouldn't even say, like, I think some of the mistakes we made along the way actually helped us. So I'm struggling with this question a little bit, just because we're right at, if you ask me at the end of the summer, I bet I'll have something to say. No, but for right now, all the things I've already said, put yourself out there, meet people, put yourself in front of people who are willing to listen, I think is always a good idea. And then, like, I do have a good thing I would like to say. I thought of something while I was talking.
There you go.
Okay. So starting a business or an organization, you set your own timelines and you set your own deadlines and everything. So I would go back and tell myself to relax a little bit, because we've had, feelings of like, we were both working for a while we were working on this job, on this idea. So when we would go out with our friends for coffee or something, there'd be this feeling of guilt in the back of your mind where it's like, oh, but I should be at home working on our project, on our business, on our passion. It's like, give yourself the time to go get coffee. Otherwise you're going to burn out. So don't guilt yourself when you're working hard. That's what I would go back and tell myself.
That's a great advice. Something we especially kind of support through Social Impact Award is also kind of building a healthy relationship with your business, and not just kind of. I'm always curious when people say, make your passion your work, and you will never have to work a day in your life, which actually turns an opposite, and you have to work 24/7 for your passion.
Yeah,
or you will never actually stop working. And I think it's very, very important to build a kind of healthy relationship with our businesses and our passions in that sense, in order to have friends and have social life, and kind of not feel guilty about indulging in the little joys of life as well.
Yeah,
I think it's great advice for starting entrepreneurs. Great, thanks, Mary. What about you, Florian?
The first thing that came to my head was write down everything and stay curious and talk to people, be honest, be truthful to yourself, and that also includes being aware when it's enough and you need a break. But as well, if we want to go deep and do it good, then be reflective on what happens also on a daily basis between people and so on. It also helps me personally, at least to see, okay, where are the leverage points at the moment, and where can I also contribute to the organization's impact, or to its purpose. That would be, I think that's the advice.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot. Just before or while we were answering, we received a question in the comments, and I would like to kind of take a bit of moment to answer that as well. And that is, and I think Florian, you also kind of mentioned that about kind of building up your reputation and kind of setting yourself up on the stage. And Willem asked, what is your advice on increasing the exposure of your venture? So kind of building up this visibility and reputation along the way. What would be your advice on that?
You can go first.
Okay. I think it really depends on what you're aiming for. If you have like the exposure, if it's about more people getting to know you, I think it's best, especially in the beginning, to activate your community, your friends, your peers, family, and so on. But also to maybe try to find a good marketing strategy marketing strategy, it sounds too big. Like having a picture or a smart design that gives you that feels good for you and represents what you're doing. And if you're more aiming on people, I think it's good to talk and go to events and be there, talk to different people as well, and get the exposure ready then. And of course, being at talks and saying something like, hey, there is the application opportunity for you, especially. Like in Austria, we have the Climate Launchpad, as I said, which is world's biggest green tech incubation program for startups at the idea phase, and the application deadline is until the 13th of April. So very happy to share it. It's appearing now. Thank you for that. That's also regarding the exposure.
Yeah, definitely using kind of opportunities like this to raise awareness of what you're working on, what cause are you working on, and how does it all work. Definitely. Thanks, Florian. What about you, Mary? How has it been building up the visibility of House of Urnebes?
Yeah, exactly what you guys said. Any way you can put yourself in front of people, and I think talks like this are a great way. Also, business competitions are a great way. You know, you do get to stand up in front of an audience and judges. So I would highly recommend that. Number two, I'm shameless. When I meet people at like bars and concerts and stuff, I will tell them to follow House of Urnebes on Instagram, and then I'll watch them do it. So shamelessly. And you know what? People feel passion. It's not like you're like, I wouldn't push it if someone was really not into it. But like, I think people feel passion, energy. So like, feel proud to promote your what you're working on and putting all your energy into. And then again, ask me a year ago, I would not have said this. TikTok has been great for us. I had to figure out how it worked. Still not all the way sure how it works, but we've had great success on it. And it's a great way to be creative, and I want to say like a little rough around the edges. TikTok itself feels like the style is a little rough around the edges. So we were nervous to start an Instagram page at first because it almost feels like Instagram has transitioned into being a little bit more, professional, perfect. So we even hesitated on our Instagram page at first. Maybe put one picture on it and said the rest coming soon, and then just put a little energy into TikTok. And had some great success, and that built enough confidence for us to be like, okay, now we can go do the Instagram thing. And then the last thing I want to say is there's a difference between quality followers and quantity of followers. So like if you have 200 to 500 followers and they are there liking all of your stuff and viewing all of your things, that's much more valuable than trying to chase thousands of followers who you might not even pop up on their page again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks a lot for these very practical, I would say, advices on how to build up the visibility of your venture. And I want to kind of first, thank you, Mary and Florian, for participating in this discussion with us. And then kind of build up on what you, Mary, said, also kind of taking part in these competitions are a great way to do so. And I wanted to share a bit of information about how can you join Social Impact Award. I am not sure now if everybody can see my slides. I have a feeling like it's a no. So maybe Lasse, you can help me out. Great, thank you. But just a few information about how you can get engaged at Social Impact Award, which has applications open pretty much right now. What maybe is interesting for everybody to know is that a Social Impact Award runs a year-long program. So we are there from beginning of the year to the end of the year with you guys. And the first part is currently ongoing, the so-called discovery phase, where in many countries where we operate, you can find different workshops, events, talks like this one and many others, where we can help you kind of get to your idea, get to kind of a concept that has some sense that you have thought through, and then you can apply to the incubation phase, which is the part where both Florian and Mary took part in, which is a 3 to 4 month extensive program of support, working with mentors, with experts, with your group of peers, because we select 8 to 15 teams per country to work with and kind of transform actually your idea into now a social venture. At the end of this phase, we award 3 to 5 teams per country with a small financial support, but everybody who has gone through the incubation remains a part of our alumni community, where we are trying to co-create and kind of connect you with other members and to support you further along the way. As I mentioned, we are active in 18 countries. So we are active in pretty much Central and Southeastern Europe, all over. We're also active in Turkey, in Georgia, Armenia. So in many other interesting places. So wherever you are from and you kind of fit within the borders of Social Impact Award community, you're more than welcome to apply. And you can, of course, find more information on our website. If you are kind of already set and you kind of want to go and put your idea down, you can do that at apply.socialimpactaward.net. There you can choose a country where you want to kind of apply for a program and submit the application. Deadlines vary from country to country, but they are roughly mid-May to end May. So for many countries, there's still quite some time to apply. And with that, I would like to kind of end our conversation and invite anybody who has any questions further to contact us or put more comments in the YouTube video or Facebook. I hope we will get to answer it. I'm more than happy to invite you to contact also me directly, but also follow Students Innovation Center and House of Urnebes on their social media and follow how their kind of journey evolves further. Thank you all for your attention. Thank you, Mary and Florian, again for your participation. And we will talk soon with a first possible opportunity. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thanks, Anna. Bye.